So here I am with my friend Harriet Kitchen. Harriet is a shamanic practitioner, energy worker, and she connects to the intergalactics like myself. And we've come together to have these discussions with the intention of helping to support others who may be new to this area or this way of being and want some sort of guidance and just to know that you're not on your own and you're not going crazy or that you might need to reach out to either one of us for some one-to-one support at some point. So Harriet, thanks again for joining me.
Well, thank you so much for engaging with me and doing this today, Nicola. I really appreciate it.
Oh, that's so. I was really felt buzzing after our last conversation that we had, and I had a million and one questions, sort of running through my mind after that conversation. But today I thought it we could talk about traveling and the different ways in which we've both experienced that, but the different ways that we know that are possible. So just to say, for me, it's not uncommon for me to go through portals and to travel intergalactically. And I guess because it's something that I've always been able to do, I'm not sure that I really understand the mechanism behind it. But I'd
Sure.
be really interested to hear what your experiences have been of traveling through interdimensions
Yeah.
and the ways in which that's happened for you. So, yeah, over to you, Harriet. What would you like to say?
Well, sometimes I might connect with sacred sites around the world where there's stargates, for instance, Lake Titicaca or Ethiopia or anywhere that I'm feeling guided to go. And I will that way travel through a stargate there and connect with the intergalactic beings, the star races, the star nations. But I also travel through, I call it a wormhole. So it looks like a tunnel,
Yes.
and I'm traveling from what I could describe from Star Trek as being a wormhole or something. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So this is just to back up a little bit. So you go to those sites in your mind, those geographical sites,
Mhm.
and how do you know that there's a Stargate there? What informs you of that?
Because I will see symbols or I will get guidance before that I need to travel to those places and do sacred work there. Or and then when I'm there, I will see different symbols or I will see visually that it's showing me a stargate.
Okay. So does that information come down to you in dreams, through meditations, or in some other way?
Through meditations mainly, rarely in dreams, but sometimes if I've got important things to do, I will be guided from a dream.
Yeah. And for how long, Harriet, have you been really sort of paying attention and acting on those prompts? Have you always followed that guidance, or is it something that you
No,
pushed
it's,
aside at different times,
I
or?
mean, I would say since about 2013 when I really started, understanding what I was doing and having a purpose for what I was doing. All
Yes.
right, I've always done that as a teenager. I've always wanted to be out of my body, and that's been a way of me exploring space, I suppose. But with an intention and doing sacred work, I'd say from 2013.
Okay. So you get information in meditation, you go off to this energetically in your mind to a geographical location, you connect through intention with the land there. And if you're seeing that there's a Stargate, is that an invitation then for you to go beyond and into another dimension?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you step through, and then what can happen?
And then it's a whole nother image. Like sometimes I see different worlds with giants, different beings. Um, yeah, Egyptian sort of stuff, or sometimes it will be dark and I'll just have a knowing. Um, yeah,
So it's not always visual for you. You're splitting between your senses,
yeah.
but nevertheless, you respond and act on prompts in the moment as the guidance is coming through in those ways.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And if there, so when you've gone into these other worlds and you're seeing these other beings, um, is it that you're interacting with those beings then and they are giving you guidance?
Depending on the work I'm doing, sometimes I'm just an observer, but other times I'm connecting with the beings to bring certain light codes through, to bring
Right.
light through, to bring those new light codes through, and then they tell me specific places where they might need to go in the country where I'm living in England, or energetically to another place in the world that I can do at distance, like, you know.
Okay.
So if it's in this country, I'll physically drive to those areas and then call in the light that they've given me and then
Yes.
ground that into the earth where it needs to be.
Okay, so it's almost like, um, do you imagine that you're a battery and you're taking in a like a a quota of light and frequency that you're being given? You drive to a location, you plant your feet on the ground, you reconnect to that battery and bring it through. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. I've never called it a battery, but
No, but
exactly
yeah,
that, Nicola. Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And what can you say a little bit about light codes for people that haven't heard that term?
Okay, so sometimes it comes in sacred geometry, but the last couple of years for me, they've come in sometimes squares, blocks, multicolored things. They come in spirals, in swirls, in different geometry, and yeah, all sorts. I just trust the guidance of what I'm getting, and
Yes.
sometimes it's just light, sometimes it will be a bright gold or a bright orange color, or depending on what star system you're working with and the beings and how they show you the codes that are coming in.
And do they ever tell you why you're doing something?
Um, well, it's just a knowing that it's there. We're doing the work to raise the vibration of the planet,
Yeah.
and to integrate. To integrate ascension and just raise consciousness. So that might be in people's thoughts or a feeling of love and expansion in the heart. So,
Mm.
yeah, it's just all about that.
So by bringing those codes down and those different frequencies, we assume that you're connecting to the grid, energetic grid in the earth in the UK. And through that grid, the energy will expand out. And my sense is, you might correct me if you disagree with me, but as people walk on the land, then
Yeah,
through their energy bodies, they are being activated by those
absolutely.
frequencies.
Absolutely. And it's even memory. I believe that, they're bringing down new consciousness, new thoughts, new ideas, new visions. I believe it's also, changing people's thought patterns as those light codes are coming in.
Yes, yeah. So do you think those activations are awakening something within the people, that it's not that that information is outside of them, it's already dormant within them maybe, and the
Yeah.
codes activate and awaken those new ways of being and
Yeah.
new thoughts and
Yeah.
new capabilities?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, Harriet, and I guess I know for myself that I'm never happier than being out in the countryside and being on what I would say a bit of a mission, which
Yeah.
would be that I've woken up, I've been usually for me it comes in, I've been given a geographical place.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm going to that place, but when I get there and I tune in, then, you know, like you, I will get a download of energy. And sometimes I would say that, say, 10 years ago, it could take quite a number of hours to do stuff. But
Yeah.
now what I'm noticing, things can be done in, a few minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I've driven 200 miles to, to bring down frequency or to connect something.
Yeah.
And I'm
Do,
here for 2 minutes and I'm done.
Do
And
you
it's,
think that's because time's accelerating, that we can get it done more quickly now, or that we're
yeah.
just more experienced and it can happen in a quicker way? It's interesting, isn't
Well,
it?
I think it could be both things. I
Yeah,
think possibly both, because energy is definitely accelerating. And I think the more that I've cleared out of my own system,
yeah,
i.e., emotions, thought patterns, dense energies, we can work smarter and we can work quicker, and we're working with higher frequencies.
yeah,
So I think it's all of those things that
yeah.
that are true. Um, I wondered whether we had an experience last weekend. Actually, now we went to a site over in Cheshire, Bosley Cloud, didn't we?
We
And we
did.
sat and connected there. Do you feel able to speak about your experience there?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we sat back to back, didn't we?
We did.
And we tuned in, we grounded ourselves, and we tuned into to source, to vibration, however you want to call it. And for me, what I was shown is they didn't tell me what beings were doing this. I wasn't aware, you know, what star nations I was working with, whether it was source, whether was a specific beings. I wasn't told that. But I saw visually with my eyes DNA strands coming down like this and flowing from the sky, from source, through my crown into my body. And then I was given information about what was happening.
Mm.
And I was told that the DNA strands were the new crystalline DNA, and specifically, it was to be put into the earth, and it was to help people that have been vaccinated with the spike proteins, because currently they're not able to receive the change in DNA from changing from our normal DNA into crystalline
Right.
structures. You know, and the vaccine was stopping people with their ascension because of that reason. But this DNA codes that I was bringing in was going to help with the spike proteins, and it would help even people that were vaccinating change their DNA for ascension into more crystalline ways of being.
Okay. I mean, that's really specific and
Yeah,
really scientific in the information, but phenomenal that me and you sitting back to back,
yeah,
tuning in, that we have the capacity to work at that level and with those frequencies. And I guess just thinking back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, where we believe that bringing those frequencies down into the grids and then anyone walking on that land is then activated by that
yeah,
frequency. And that's a really popular spot. So there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of people that walk in that area that has the potential to be activated from that energy. And I think, for me, that's fascinating.
yeah,
And it's fascinating in the first place that people are drawn to these, sacred sites and these different points of geography and in the landscape. And I guess we know through our experiences that um, they high vibration, aren't they? They're a frequency that people probably unbeknowingly. Yes, they're usually beautiful spots in nature, so that would be an attraction anyway.
yeah,
But that people are drawn there to get that sort of activation unconsciously, I guess, and then they go and get what they
yeah.
need within their energy field.
Yeah. And
So,
thinking about what you're talking, I'm wondering how much the elements carry the vibrations as well. You know, the wind and the air, and
yes,
you know, and how far is that going to travel on the wind as well as people,
yeah,
you know, physically
absolutely.
go in there.
Yeah, and I guess what we know about water, water
And the
is
water,
the is the
exactly,
crucial part of
exactly.
the consciousness and this exchange of consciousness. So yeah, I think it's fascinating to me that we know, obviously, in our circle of friends and acquaintances, so many people are doing this work now consciously. So
Yeah,
many people are connecting to the earth and connecting to intergalactics and bringing these frequencies down.
yeah,
I think it's a really exciting time to be alive.
isn't it, Jo?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. So could we go back to the travel element? So
Yes.
we've talked about sort of get you thinking about a geographical place, you're setting intention, you're going there in your mind. Now, some people go, well, how is that even possible? Well,
Mm.
we both know that the world is a mental world, isn't it?
Mm.
i.e., we can go anywhere
Mhm.
that we can perceive. So if we haven't got that limitation on our thinking and our knowing, and that we go to a geographical site, the we really do have the capacity to energetically travel anywhere,
Absolutely.
not
And
limited.
they say teleportation isn't possible, but it is. We're doing
Yes,
it now. We're living that.
yes, absolutely. And I think this is the thing, I guess, again, I used to think that it was possible to teleport along the lays. So
Ah, yeah,
that you use the lays to travel in that way. But now I know that I don't need the lays to travel.
yeah.
So, it's I guess, you know, I I am not yet at the place where I'm biolocating. So I don't, sort of leave my home, biolocate and pop up somewhere else physically yet. But I
Yeah,
do think that that's coming and I do think that will be possible. But
yeah,
like you, I can go somewhere in my mind and connect to the energy of a place and
absolutely.
and I know, and I'm sure you may have had this experience yourself, the land can call me.
Yeah,
So I think that's what happens to me when I know that I've got something to do. I just go to bed, I set the intention to receive the information of where I need to go, and I wake with a geographical location.
yeah. And you just have to trust your intuition and go,
Yeah,
Nicola, don't
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
absolutely.
so
And
yeah,
and I just wanted to say that as well. We were talking about the water just now, and very often I follow the water trail. So I will go
right.
into meditation, and the water will come in straight away, and then I'm at access to all the memory that the water holds, and then the water will take me to a specific location, and that's a way that my guides are getting me to travel more
Right.
recently nowadays.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
tap it. So I guess what we're saying is the elements and there's are one. Well, obviously we've got different elements, but each element is a medium in which we can connect to consciousness
That's
because
right.
each element is holding consciousness anyway, and we're connecting in. So yeah, we know that everything's consciousness, trees, animals, plants,
Yeah.
the rocks, everything.
Yeah.
And you just reminded me, I went to one of the sacred sites in the Cumbria region called the Long Meg,
Okay.
and there's a sentinel stone just off the main circle, and I walked straight up to it. I put my finger, I'd never been there,
Yeah.
um, knowingly. I put my finger straight into a spiral that's edged out into the rock that my
Yeah.
friends who go there regularly had never seen. I
Yeah.
wound it, I moved the rock, yeah, like just a fraction.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
was almost like, oh, okay, that was all I needed to do. So
Yeah.
that that rock was then in absolute alignment, and it could ignite the
Yeah.
rest of the energy around that um, circle.
Oh, I love the way you tapped into that there, Nicola, like, because we experience the same when we work with Avebury, because at certain times and certain conditions, the rocks will move like that. So
Yes.
it gives you an idea of how they were put there in the first place, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, my idea that they were put there in the first place was that it was used through you know, intergalactic technology, actually. So
Yeah,
I think probably through something like kinetic energy, which is the movement,
yeah,
moving things with your mind. I think that that's how the rocks have been positioned.
yeah, that's right.
That's my sense.
Oh, I really love that.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you would agree with
I,
that.
yeah, I love the idea of that. And yeah, that makes complete sense to me,
Yeah.
Nicola.
Yeah, I definitely feel that it's intergalactic technology that's been used because my sense is that um the sacred sites are almost like an audience survey map for the galactics
Yeah, absolutely.
because they need something so huge,
Yeah,
to sort of navigate.
yeah.
Um, so yeah,
But
I,
talking about the stones, I really love that. But there's certain sites like there's a place called Compton Dundon near Glastonbury. I know the rocks that are on the land, they map, they match certain star systems. So the rocks on the floor are a map of the stars in certain
okay.
constellations, which is just mind blowing.
Yes, yeah, and I know with the long Meg, my friend has an app on her phone that can tune in to tell you what kind of stone something is.
Yeah,
And those stones, every stone is different from a
yeah.
different place and a different type of stone.
Wow.
So it's not like it's local
Quarry. It's for a
stone,
local
quarried
quarry.
stone from a local quarry.
Oh,
It's not. And I suspect that again, it's to do with frequency, that
absolutely.
each stone has a different frequency or will conduct in a particular way, but
Yeah,
the combinations of the stones
yeah,
will create a certain frequency. And
yeah.
like you say, when the constellations of the stars are in a certain alignment, that will also create certain conditions for certain frequencies. So I know we've diverted off track of travel, but I think, yeah, this is the nature of the way that we work, isn't it? It's not linear.
No.
And we never, I know for me, when I set out in my car and I'm going to a geographical location, I never know what I'm going to do until I
Yeah,
get there.
yeah,
I
yeah,
used to get the information
yeah,
ahead of time.
yeah,
Now I don't.
yeah. And we
And
went to we you took me to Druid's Cave and I had no idea what we were doing there last week and then you're told as soon as you're there. So
yes,
absolutely amazing.
yeah, yeah. So I think there's something about us having, like we say, refined our intuition,
Yeah,
trusting our journey, and being experienced in what we're doing
yeah,
to a certain degree that enables that.
yeah.
But I think, coming back to this idea of being able to travel, we've talked about going to different geographical locations, and you mentioned going to different planets or different star systems.
Hmm.
Do you think that's done in a different way, or are you going in your mind?
No, it's exactly the same way. It's it all in the mind. Yeah,
So it's all intention.
it's all intention. Yeah,
Yeah. And last time we spoke, you touched on this and said, well, we know that time doesn't exist. And that's I believe that that's a man-made construct.
yeah,
And yet when you're going to a
hmm,
star system,
yeah,
because in theory, these star systems are light years away,
yeah,
and they're that for would take a rocket, for example, to travel to the moon and back,
yeah.
months. So how
Yeah, and
how
and
do we get there so quickly?
I know, yeah. It's just the intention, isn't it? Like, and the connection, and we meet somewhere in the middle. But sometimes on these journeys, I say I'll be doing a 20-minute journey, and it seems like it's going on for hours when there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
And then at other times, um, you'll do a 20-minute journey and it will feel like it's gone in a 3-second period. So
Yes.
it's really fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It is. But you're still doing the work and being instructed and doing what you need to do.
Yeah,
But I think my sense is that it's always to do with frequency, isn't it? Ultimately,
absolutely. Yeah,
either balancing, bringing through, activating,
yeah.
and we're in it. We live in an energy world. Energy, not just our world, but everything's energetic, isn't it?
Yeah, and
So
grounding those new light codes into the planet,
yes,
which from I'd say about a year ago, the light codes have really changed for me. Working with the light codes before, I'd see the similar patterns or see similar geometry, and now it's opened up so wide that I see the light codes coming in a different form, especially in the last year. It's really changed for me.
so when you say you used to see them in certain geometry, do you mean the types of geometry that we would learn at school in maths?
Yeah, that sort of thing, and yeah, that sort of thing,
Yeah,
and then moving in spirals and moving in different fashions. Yeah,
yeah. So something's changing, something's opened up, you say.
yeah,
So in terms of I've always understood that um symbols, so we'll use a shape,
yeah,
a sacred geometric shape as an example, is a access into a different level of consciousness. Would you agree that that's right?
yeah. I hadn't really analysed it that much, but I'm feeling into what you're saying, and that feels completely right, Nicola. Yeah,
So my understanding has come from my work as a Reiki master teacher.
yeah,
And part of the Reiki lineage is that you're given some symbols
okay,
as part of your second level, and the third, the six symbols in the Asui lineage. And that's, I guess, was the way that I was taught that by using these symbols, what you're actually doing is creating a portal into a different level of consciousness, and the intention of those symbols will amplify or enhance the intention of the healing that you're doing with that person.
as a glyph would, the same as a glyph would.
Yes. Yeah. So a glyph, do you mean hieroglyphics?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
hieroglyphics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for anybody that might not be familiar with the terms. So I guess again, as my consciousness rises, and I think also I've heard some teachers like Greg Braden say this, that although we go to places like Egypt and we see the hieroglyphics as 2D on the walls, that actually they are multidimensional in nature. So if you tune into them, you're accessing that
Yeah,
intention and whatever that hieroglyphic is, you're tapping into more knowledge, aren't you?
absolutely.
But this is the piece of information that was never accessible to us.
No. And it was really prevalent when we went to Egypt, when we because we saw
Yes,
the hieroglyphics and they were moving. Setmek was moving.
yes,
It was like a whole structure that was moving, and that it make you can understand then why they scrubbed out all the hieroglyphics because
yes,
it's much more than just a picture or a glyph, isn't it?
yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, this is to me, again, what's fascinating about the notion of traveling, because even standing in front of, a geometric shape, you can travel through connecting with that shape, can't you? Because ultimately, the shape creates a portal and
Yeah,
an access through
yeah.
either to knowledge or to I
The
guess
dimensions.
dimension, yeah. And I suppose it's the recipient who may, I don't know. I guess as I'm saying this now, I'm curious. It's not, I don't know the answer to this. Do you think that it's the relationship between the geometric shape and the recipient, that whatever that individual needs, that the
Yeah,
information will be received based on what
absolutely.
they need. So it might
Absolutely.
be that they come through with conscious information. It might be that they go through a portal and have a journey. It might be that they get activated in some other way, but
Or
it's
they might
just,
have some healing from it,
yes,
whatever they need.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so
Yeah,
it's this inherent wisdom, isn't it, that's ultimately within the field
yeah,
that informs what each of us
yeah.
as individuals need based on our current state of consciousness and awareness.
That's right. Great way to
Yeah,
put it, Nicola. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just fascinating because it's universal
yeah,
and yet individualized at the same time, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And so it's that macrocosm and microcosm that is structured the same, but
and,
it's what's enabled, isn't it?
and it's for the individual, whatever the individual can see in awareness or consciousness, and whatever they need in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, what a phenomenal piece of tech we are,
Yeah.
it just blows my mind.
Ah,
It's so exciting to be having these discussions. So trying to bring it back to travel then, um, I had an experience where we were in Egypt, actually, me and you, we had an experience
yeah,
whereby I felt like I was on a roller coaster, because I was going up and I was going down, and I came to what I want to say, like almost like a spiral, but a fork in a road, and I could
yeah,
have gone off in the left direction. I could have shot off into the right. And it was just it was the first time I'd experienced travel in that way. But is your sense that that is what you would experience a wormhole
yeah.
like, or not?
No, I mean, are you talking about the experience we had at the Philae Temple? Is that what you're talking about, Nicola? No, a different one.
No, a different one.
Uh, I mean, that was new for me. I was rocking, and
Yes.
to it was. I was like my body was acting as a spaceship. So,
Yes.
um, when I see a wormhole, I just go into it. I don't have any movement in my body. That's not
Body.
been my experience. Yeah,
No, no. And I think, I've also remembered on a different experience of traveling, literally, like, I want to say I was going faster than light, and I don't
yeah,
know what's faster than light,
yeah,
but it felt like I was seeing visually like light move past me so fast.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. I
Um,
I move really fast in the astral worlds as well.
yes,
Really
yeah.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's just it's fascinating that it's perceptual, isn't it? This is all perceptual,
yeah,
and what we can open ourselves up to experience
yeah.
if we allow it and we get ourselves out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there anything that you would say to people that might be experiencing travel, but that they perhaps were unsure that quite what was going on?
Yeah.
How would you sort of guide them to, navigate this?
Well, I'd say let go of the fear and really go where spirit's wanting to take you. But just make sure you're protected. You've got your guides with you. You've got protection on, and just make sure you're really, really thorough with that before you
Mm,
go exploring.
mm,
Like.
mm. And maybe that's something, Harriet, that we need to discuss in another conversation, because not
Yeah,
everybody may be familiar with protection
yeah,
and why they would need to protect and what they're protecting from,
yeah.
those sorts of things. So maybe that's a conversation for another day. But is there anything else you want to add at this point?
Oh, I think that's it. And it's been wonderful talking to you today, Nicola. And yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for spending the time with me. And we'll talk again soon.
Okay,
I'm just
take
going to
care.
stop the recording.